People just make horror content. I couldn't do it. I'm too much of a baby.
I'm just a baby.
Let's take a look at some scary TikToks.
Moments caught at Target stores, part 1. In this video, a woman films herself talking to a man in a Target store. It's unclear what they are talking about, but then the woman points the camera at him and asks if he remembers talking to her before. The man instantly starts running out of the Target.
Stop that guy! Call the cops!
Is he a molester?
Call the cops on him! Call the cops!
The woman chases him out yelling for people to stop him and call the police. She chases him all the way out to the parking lot, and he gets in his car and leaves. The woman said that she had seen the man in the Target before, and he had asked her super inappropriate questions that made her feel very uncomfortable.
Oh, I was about to say, did she find out like he died 15 years ago and he keeps coming up and asking to see the manager? All right, but apparently he asked something inappropriate, so let's be adults about this.
They come across their absolute worst nightmare. A train siren is heard from the distance approaching quickly, so the cyclists run for their life. By some miracle, the cyclists manage to escape the train with seconds to spare.
It would have made a much more entertaining video if, now, walk with me on this one, if they kept going and they didn't realize that there was a train coming until it was too late. Like the train just like snuck up on them. What do you think? And then for a kicker, when the train comes out the tunnel, it's Thomas the Tank Engine.
X gon' give it to you. Fuck, wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver to you.
Camera PT.11.
Scariest moments caught on camera. July 2018, a South Florida resident experiencing a terrifying encounter.
Tell me what's wrong. What's wrong?
An unknown woman is violently attempting to enter their apartment. The woman is either on a substance or possessed. Either way, the residents don't want her inside. This shit is like Jurassic Park.
Be still. This vision is based on movement.
The woman continues to react outside their window while one of the women inside takes the opportunity to close it shut. Yeah, you should have been did that shit. You know what does that? Spice. I'm not sure what's troubling this woman, but I hope she gets the help she needs because it's very scary to witness. Spice.
This man claims his psychiatrist controlled and took over his life for 30 years. This is the Shrink Next Door case. In 1981 in New York, Marty Markowitz was having a hard time.
Marty Markowitz?
His parents and
Fake
having
name.
problems with his family business. Marty was a millionaire and financially well off, but was just really lost. He heard about a psychiatrist named Dr. Isaac Ike Hirschkopf, who was rumored to have a direct and unconventional approach with his clients. He was well known as a celebrity doctor and would flaunt his relationships with well-known people like Gwyneth Paltrow and him. Yuck. Marty began seeing the doctor and he really helped him at first, but then things took a strange turn. The doctor began inserting himself into Marty's life. He convinced Marty to give him control over his finances. Marty would run errands for him. The doctor alienated him from his sister, pictured here, by telling him that he couldn't trust her. It even got to the point where the doctor moved into Marty's Hamptons home and pretended it was his own. The doctor would host parties there and then force Marty to serve the guests as part of the catering staff. He essentially became the doctor's handyman and assistant while paying him.
Bro, you're not a patient, you a simp ass nigga.
A neighbor of the Hamptons home, journalist Joe Nocera, assumed that Dr. Ike owned the home and Marty was just a groundskeeper. Joe began investigating and realized that this was one twisted ordeal. Marty said, quote, "He didn't let me have a girlfriend. I would go on a date and he'd call her a gold digger. He would say, 'Everyone is out to get you. I'm going to protect you.' And I was stupid enough to buy it." The doctor persuaded Marty to rewrite his will and leave his entire estate to him and installed himself as the president of Markowitz's company. And this continued on for 30 years. It wasn't until 2010 when Marty went in for a medical procedure. Afterwards, he noticed that Dr. Ike didn't check on him or visit. And he finally began questioning the relationship. The doctor knew Marty truly didn't have anyone else in his life.
I wasn't paying attention. Did he let the doctor fuck his wife?
And Marty realized that this entire relationship was a fraud. After realizing he was, quote, living a lie, Marty cut off ties with the doctor and later found out that Dr. Ike had done this to multiple other patients over the years. Marty's story became the center of podcasts and eventually was adapted into the Apple TV drama The Shrink Next Door with Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd.
So they're gonna turn it into a comedy? It's hilarious if you hear about it, but the real life implications of that shit, it's tragic. Russia found a sea monster in Antarctica. Let's take a look at this.
In 1974, Russian scientists at the Vostok Research Output Station
Is that where they make the hurricanes?
discovered that there was actually a subglacial lake 2 miles beneath them, but it wasn't until 30 years later when they finally breached the ice. The first team of divers that explored the lake encountered a 33-foot-long, 14-tentacle squid that released a toxin into the water to immobilize 3 members of the expedition team, eventually killing them. They then came back with backup,
Where's
and
the
the
proof?
scientists were able to then cage the creature. But when they returned to the surface, the creature, whose name is now Organism 46B, was actually seized by the Russian officials, and the team was told to keep this quiet. To this day, nobody has any idea where Organism 46B is.
You want to know where Organism 46B is? It's right here.
See, part 1. The video that I'm about to show you shows what happens to being exposed to radiation for too long, which would then leave behind your shadow.
We already know what happens. You turn green, you get ripped. Getting exposed to radiation is the biggest gym cheat code ever.
But that's not the scary part about the video. The man who was doing the experiment in this video died 3 days after, but the scientists said it had nothing to do with the experiment, but it actually did, and he got radiation poisoning.
Wait, they really just had dudes stand there getting blasted with radiation just to see if a shadow stayed on a wall? You got me fucked up. How much you get paid? How much you going to pay me? All right, my little macadamians. Do y'all believe in Bigfoot? I like to think that there are cryptids out there, mythological creatures we don't have any recordings of yet. I want the Loch Ness Monster to be a real thing. I think it'd be pretty cool if mermaids turned out to be a real thing. But Bigfoot, I don't know. I can't get behind Bigfoot. I can't do it. I don't know if it's because, you know, we already have apes and gorillas and stuff like that already. Like, I don't see what the interest is. Who cares if it's real? We have gorillas, we have bears, we have humans. Who gives a shit? You know what we don't have? Sea monsters. Let's get some of those. You know, I don't really care about unicorns. We're canceling horses anyway around these parts. We don't fuck with horses, all right? And the unicorn is just a dumb horse. It's a horse that's so dumb it doesn't exist. How you gonna be a horse and not be real? Horses are a thing in our universe, but you're not real? Come on, pal. Unicorns are dumb horses. You can't argue with that. It has a horn coming out of its brain. It's a horse that's so dumb it couldn't exist. Anyway, what were we talking about again?
Evidence that Bigfoot exists. On October 20th,
Evidence that Bigfoot exists,
1967,
y'all.
Roger Patterson and Bob Gimlin were riding horseback along the banks of Bluff Creek in Northern California's Six Rivers National Forest. All of a sudden, something in the distance frightened their horses, and this is what they captured on footage.
So what? What is that? That's nothing.
Despite the fact that the clip was shot with 1960s equipment, the footage is the most famous, most debated, but never definitively debunked video capture of a supposed Bigfoot. However, many still wonders if these two men actually saw Bigfoot, and more importantly,
The original video of Bigfoot. is some bullshit.
We made it up.
How are y'all believing in this thing from that video? What came first? Did the video come first, or was there rumors of this creature? I could understand if people out there in Montana or wherever the fuck Bigfoot is, I could understand if they'd heard stories about this creature and then some dudes come riding into town on their horses like, hey, we have video here of this humanoid pubic hair monster. If the video came first and everything came after that, why would y'all hinge so much on that shoddy ass video? That shit looked, I mean, it didn't look horrible. The hair was kind of just shining and glimmering and shit. The hair had body, I'm not gonna lie. But that's just a whole nother reason. How you gonna be an ape monster living in the forest and your shit looking like Pantene Pro V? Where are you getting Tresemme from, sir? How does your hair have more bounce and volume than some of the bitches out here? No, sir, I will not have it. I'm not buying that shit. But y'all have for hundreds of years.
Faint of heart, please keep scrolling.
Trigger warning for all you pussies.
Serial killers from every U.S. state. Part 22.
From every U.S. state,
Michigan.
okay.
Elias Abulazam, aka the Serial Stabber.
I'm mostly interested in California.
He was known as the Serial Stabber because between 2000...
All right, so assuming this guy gets around to California, who do y'all think he's gonna pick? Who's from California? Is Edwin Kemper from California? I feel like he was. I feel like he went to college in California. Who is a serial killer from California? This is gonna keep me up at night for the wrong reasons.
2009 and 2010, Elias Abulazam stabbed 18 people in Flint, Michigan. Of those 18, 5 people were killed. His stabbings became national news when he crossed state lines to stab even more people. Some believe his stabbings were racially motivated because the majority of his victims were African American.
Bitch ass nigga.
He was sentenced to life in prison for his crimes and remains there to this day.
This picture shows the Apollo 1 crew praying as a joke.
Oops.
None of them made it back alive. On January 27, 1967, the Apollo 1 spacecraft went into flames, burning the 3 crew to death.
January 27th, 1960. How old were y'all? All ass niggas. Hey, I know I'm a cold dude and I talk a lot of shit, but one thing that I really do not fuck with is people's last words being broadcast for entertainment. Like, I don't fuck with that shit. I mean, I'm not gonna stop you from doing it. It's your decision, you know. Do you? You're just a pussy.
Put her home. This is the chilling story of the uninvited guest. For a friend's birthday, Chloe and a few of their pals decided to book a tour of a haunted home on the other side of town. Chloe didn't believe in ghosts or any of that stuff, but agreed and thought it would be a funny night out. The night of, the group met up with the ghost hunter Steve, who gave the tour. He was really quirky and was obviously a big believer in the supernatural. Steve told the group that through prior investigations, they found the original owners of the 1900s mansion tragically passed in the home, and since it seemed to be some kind of a spiritual portal. There were reportedly numerous ghosts there, some tied to the home and others that seemed to be there just to cause trouble. Chloe laughed and honestly thought the whole thing was kind of comical. They did the standard tour, turning off all the lights, and Steve placed groups in different rooms of the home, and just as she guessed, nothing happened. As she left, she made a comment to Steve saying, "Well, I guess the ghost took the night off." They all went to get dinner and drinks afterwards, and Chloe finally got back to her apartment around midnight. She got ready for bed, lay down, and couldn't have been asleep for more than 10 minutes when all of a sudden she felt the sensation that someone had sat down on the bed next to her. The bed creaked and she felt a freezing cold breeze. She immediately jumped up and turned on the light, but there was no one there. She tried to brush it off, woke up the next morning, and got ready to walk to Pilates. It was only a 10-minute walk, and she made a turn down an empty street when suddenly, coming up from behind her, she felt that freezing air again and then heard a mischievous laugh in her ear.
It follows.
She turned around and again, no one there. That night, she got into bed and after an hour of tossing and turning, finally fell asleep. Just a short time later, she heard the unmistakable sounds of her floorboards creaking in her hallway, as if someone was walking around out there. She froze in fear and suddenly felt that cold breeze again, and felt someone standing over her. She jumped up, turned on the lights, and again, no one there. She was so desperate the next day she called Steve, the tour guide, and told him what had been going on since she left. He didn't sound surprised at all and said that he had seen spirit attachments before. He also noted the fact that Chloe made a joke of the home and the ghosts on the tour, that a spirit may have heard that and taken it as some kind of a challenge. He told her she needed to speak directly to the spirit and tell it that it wasn't welcome anymore. The moment she did, the energy shifted and the activity
It had to be
completely
told
stopped.
that it wasn't welcome.
She never joked about that kind of stuff again. You never know who or what may follow you home to prove you wrong.
I feel like there's some ghosts out there that need to hear this. You can't just get in bed with a woman without consent. I never thought I'd have to say this, but ghosts are canceled. As a matter of fact, we're canceling ghost and haunted houses officially. Haunted houses, canceled. The real things, not the attractions that people put together. Y'all are still good, but the real haunted houses with the real ghost, you're gone. You've been Me Too'd. You're out of here. You should have thought about that before you didn't get consent. And don't follow women, living or dead. Don't do it. I mean, you as the follower, living or dead, don't do it. I guess don't follow dead women either.
The government is hiding something terrifying. The US Navy set off a 40,000-pound bomb in the Atlantic Ocean, 100 miles off the coast of Florida, saying it was just a military exercise. However, if you watch the footage, it really doesn't look like a normal military exercise, but instead something terrifying. It's known there is unknown creatures or aliens living deep in the ocean, so could it be possible that it really wasn't a military exercise, but instead a cover-up to take out a deadly threat in the ocean, knowing they can't tell the public because the panic it will start?
Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Making a statement with no evidence and then drawing your own conclusion? Are we doing that? I could do that. Don't go to ice cream trucks ever again. It's been said that ice cream trucks were delivered from Satan himself. Satan made ice cream trucks. Do I have proof? But it's 100% real. Photos taken before horrible disasters. The crew of the Challenger. 1986. Chat, where were y'all in 1986? Old ass nigga. That's awful what we pretend happened to those people. Do you know how terrifying this shit would be in real life? Don't quote me on this. I'm not Neil deGrasse Tyson or anything. If a planet that is that big, if it was that close to us for us to see it, we'd already be dead. Gravitation would be all fucked up. Seas would have flooded out everything. We'd all catch fire. Yeah, we wouldn't just get hit by another planet like it's pool and shit. We'd be fucked. Now, like I said, terrifying moments caught on camera. Caught on camera. And then you see the rocket go off there. Is that like a defense rocket? Or is that the elites and President Brandon? They're going to colonize Mars. Yeah, no, in that instance, everything dies. Everything. The things on Earth, the things in the ocean, the things in the sky, no birds, we all fucked. President Brandon.
Today I'm going to be talking about one of the most famous alleged ghost photos captured to date. In 1976, Ed and Lorraine Warren were among the first to investigate the Amityville house in Long Island, New York.
These two people right here are who that movie The Conjuring was based off of. well, loosely based off of, but the people in that movie, the ghost hunters slash exorcisers, I don't know what you call them, but that's them in real life. So if you thought that all that ghost and ghoul shit was some bullshit, that's the real people. And Annabelle, the doll, that's a real thing too. It looks like Raggedy Ann. Look it up.
Less than 2 years after the DeFeo family met a tragic end at the hands of Ronald DeFeo Jr., which I will be doing another video on later. During the investigation, paranormal photographer Gene Campbell set up an automatic camera that took infrared photos of the second floor landing throughout the night.
The Amityville murders. If you don't know about it, I'll give you the quick cliff notes. The son, I think he was in his 20s, was living with his family, just went crazy one night. Shot his mom, dad, younger siblings, all in the faces. Killed them all. Said that he was hearing voices.
Many rolls of film were developed, and nothing seemed out of the ordinary at first, until they came across this photograph. There appeared to be a young boy in the photo, although there were no children there that night. It is believed by many to be the ghost of 9-year-old John DeFeo, and there's no denying it. There's some eerie similarities when you compare a photo of John DeFeo to the one that was captured. Do you think that this is the ghost of 9-year-old John DeFeo, or perhaps something more evil pretending to be him? Let me know in the comments.
Excuse me, ma'am. Maybe you didn't hear me earlier, but ghosts are canceled. We're not even talking about them anymore. They don't exist to us. You're gone. For the second time. All right, we're gonna cut it right there. There you have it. These are the things that keep some people up at night. That was fun. I hope y'all had fun watching. Please do not forget to kick that like button right in the balls. Share these videos. I put in a lot of work. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but there's definitely been a change in quality from the very beginning until now. Check my old videos out. Who is this, Laura? Who is this, Megan Trainor? Who is this, Sam Smith? Cancel. Oh, shit. Is that the grandpa from King of the Hill? I killed 50 men. Which one of these was scary to you? Be smarter, be stronger, be better than you was today.